Alrighty. Got the wood heater going. This is the morning. It's 5 degrees Celsius. It's yeah, we haven't even technically hit winter yet, so that's a bit of a jump. But winter's less than a week away, really. Yeah. So anyway, sort of interesting. I was bloody cold as a cat having a snooze. As cold as cold, obviously, and I thought, stuff this, I'm lighting this up. Now the sun's coming up real bright. It's going to be one of those bright, clear days. That was expected to be the case, and it was sort of the case yesterday afternoon. But what really surprised me was I lit this up, and I could feel the heat coming off the stovepipe, but not off the glass. And it was, I had my legs really close to it, within like 2 or 3 inches, still couldn't feel anything. Fire's roaring away. The glass was cold. It took about 5 minutes for the glass to heat up and then the radiant heat to come out. I never quite suspected that. Anyway, while I'm sitting here basking in the warmth with solar-powered lighting, I want to talk a little bit about the sort of societal shift expectations that feminism has brought. Not third wave feminism, but second wave feminism. And how something that back in the late 70s and all that would have been presented as an option is now an expectation. And in effect, as opposed to giving women options to work and whatnot, second wave feminism has caused them to almost be expected to follow it, not as an option but as an expectation. And I've come across a few cases of that. Now there's a video that's been rolling around on the internet, part of all this MGTOW stuff. One day I'll give a talk on my opinion of MGTOW and all that, but let's stick to one subject at a time here. Rolling around amongst all these different MGTOW channels and stuff is a video of a young lass who's living in what looks like to be a multi-storey apartment building, and she's talking on a balcony in New Jersey. And she basically is in a job and she hates the job, and she says that it feels like it's just Groundhog Day, like it's never going to end, like she's just going to be still working this same shit job, presumably minimum wage, I'm not sure, until she's like 40 or something like this. Now the girl talking is probably only 21 or something, and quite early 20s. Couldn't be any older than 23. I think she'd be either 20 or 21. And she sort of says that she's getting sick of life as it is. It just feels like a never-ending blooming, situation. Well, welcome to the rat race. Welcome to the hamster running on the little wheel. It's what they call the rat race. She then goes on to say that she doesn't want to be like this for the rest of her life. In fact, she'd prefer if she didn't have to be like this any longer than she really needs to be. And I don't know if she feels, she says you can only do it another 6 months or something, but I forget, well, I'm not even sure. She probably didn't even say that, but she really doesn't like doing it, doesn't want to do it forever, feels as though she's going to be doing this forever. And then she, says that she would rather have a man who works, and she comes straight out and says the phrase, I don't want to work, I do want to be a mother, and I want to sit at home and look at my great big fucking refrigerator and say, what sort of a massive big evening meal am I going to make tonight. And that's going around as a sign, it's going around, within the description and stuff like that, and the title saying, proof that young women are lazy and don't want to work. And although she says she doesn't want to work, she does want to be a mother, and and ultimately a housewife. And she does want to raise at least a kid, if not two kids. It's basically shown on MGTOW channels as though it's a sense of entitlement and a sense of laziness. But when you actually listen to, like, if you were to write down a transcript of the words she says and read them back and show this to a feminist back in 1979, 1980, sometime around then, they'd go, this girl's just trapped into the idea of being a mother and that's all her place is in life. Really, what she says she wants to do is what women generally done pre-second wave feminism. I'm not talking, I'm talking just the old traditional housewife thing. That's what she says she, wants to do. And yet here it is sort of being used against her as though it's because she says she doesn't want to work, she's a lazy, entitled little brat. And they just sort of completely blindside the fact that she wants to have kids and she wants to do housewife stuff, at least cook an evening meal. And sort of interesting because it's, the second wave feminism's come along to give you the option to do it. And now even MGTOW channels show it as though like it's just laziness, entitlement and stuff if you don't want to follow what second wave feminism said you had an option to follow. And I find that sort of surprising. I've also, probably 6 months back or so, come across a young lass on Tumblr who, just one of these things where they have their little comments and stuff like that, and where people, ask a question of someone, and she's actually said to someone, I'm not too sure, I think it was a guy, my family is pushing me to go to university and to chase a career and to do this and to do that, but in all honesty, I really would love to be pregnant and have a couple of kids and take on the life of a housewife. I really don't want a career and a university degree and all this stuff. I just want to settle down, within, the girl was probably about, 20 or something like that, but she's just said, I want to settle down within the next year or two and, have a few children and become a housewife. But my family is making me feel guilty for doing it and trying to force me to go to university and get a career that I really don't even want to have. I don't want to chase a career. I just want to be a mother. And, and she's outright, that's was her goal in life, was just to be a mother. And yet her whole family's badging her against it. Her own mother, her father, siblings and everything, I think was sort of like, probably quite a few of them were like, well, this is, but she's just like, no, I'd absolutely love to have a child and probably, 3 of them, but just, I'm not interested in all this stuff. So once again, it's another case where, in her case, it's a family. It's no MGTOW channel. It's actually her own family that's pushing her to go to university and then saying, well, you should go and have a career. And she's like, I never wanted a career. I just wanted to have my own children, you know. And she's fairly young, but she said, I'm pretty certain that's, you know, what I feel as though I want my life to be, is just to be a mother. And, you know, ultimately a housewife. And, you know, she obviously loves kids. I mean, a lot of these young women do love kids. And, you know, you go to childcare centres and you look at the amount of young women that work at childcare centres, if you've ever been to these places. I haven't, but when you go on these dating sites, you'll see that there are stacks and stacks of young women who actually do work in childcare centres. And, you know, she's made to feel almost as though it's wrong. And she's asking this guy, what can I say as a comeback, or what angle can I take this so that my family will agree and let me follow the path of being a mother without all this, you know, running around at some bullshit career that I never wanted, you know, for several years beforehand, you know. And it's sort of intriguing that this is sort of second wave feminism come out to give you these options, and now they've gone from being an option to being an expectation to finding it difficult to even go the traditional path of being a mother and a housewife due to falling into the rat race, due to pressures from your parents and stuff like that. I find it sort of astounding. So I just wanted to talk about that, and I'm sure some of you guys, well, you might as well whack it in the comments. You know, cases you've come across, you may have experienced this firsthand yourself. And it's one of these things, it reminds me of one of my uncle's mates, God blimey. He comes out with some stuff. He's currently in a big feud with bloomin' Chinese boss, actually. But he used to say, God blimey, you know, he used to talk about, this is pre the days of gay marriage, when they first had ideas about, you know, gay marriage. And he said, first it was hidden, then it became tolerated, then it became mainstream, and he says the next thing you'll know, it'll be bloody compulsory to be gay. You know, and this is the thing, you know, it's sort of the same way. It's you know, it was sort of a little bit, well, you know, you can only have a career if you never marry, but don't expect high pay, and then it changed to, you know, well, I suppose, you know, we need women in offices and stuff, and I suppose if they can do the job, we can have them, you know, doing jobs that are non-traditional woman jobs, to, well, all women work, to, well, if you don't work, what's wrong with you? Why the hell do you want to be a mother? You know, it's sort of gone the same way. But anyway, I'll leave it at that, and yeah, any comments you want to make about, just throw it down below.